Wow. Blade Runner 2049. Hi, everyone. It's Eric with the Film Followers with another weekly review. And I'm just going to go right into it. Blade Runner 2049 is easily one of the best movies I've seen this year, probably for quite a few years, to be honest. Let's just break it down in very simple terms here. This movie has everything. Excellently directed, excellent cast, a very deep emotional story that has a lot of different perspectives, and I don't want to say anything about the story because I don't want to ruin it for anyone, and that's why I'm going to be very vague on details. But needless to say, it's a movie that's well worth watching multiple times to just really dig in deep of the themes of everything that's going on in this film. But yeah, story, score, cinematography, costume design. There's not a single piece of this movie that I don't think is all the way to the top of the bar. And its runtime is nearly 3 hours, and it doesn't, and at least for me, it didn't really feel like a movie that, I mean, I knew it was long while watching it, but it was okay because I kept wanting more from this world. I gotta take a few steps back and stop gushing about it. For any of you who don't know what Blade Runner 2049 is, it's a science fiction film, like a science fiction noir. It's set in 2049 of Earth, in a reality where it's seen where things are a bit more crazily overcrowded, overpopulated. And in addition to that, to solve a lot of Earth's major problems, these people are genetically engineered and created called replicants. They're like humans in a lot of ways. A lot of the big differences are they are genetically engineered to be stronger. They can take a big beating. And in this film, the idea is more being that the newer models of these replicants are supposed to be more obedient, based on prior situations that happened before the film of older models that weren't so obedient. And the idea being a Blade Runner is someone who their job is they're kind of like the police force of replicants. So if a replicant starts breaking rules and killing people, Blade Runners come in, and their job is essentially to Judge Dredd, execute these people, and they call them retire. And I'm not really going to give away much of the. I'm not really going to give away the plot. The only thing that I'm going to say is that Ryan Gosling, who is the lead of this movie, he is a Blade Runner, and I'm not going to say anything else. Anything else would just destroy a lot of the fun of this movie. And one of the reasons that it's so much fun is because of how it follows this central character, played by Ryan Gosling. His name is Agent K. The story, the journey that this character goes through it's both beautiful and sad, and there's so many different layers to it. And Ryan Gosling gives this amazing performance, hands down one of his best. It's another one where he doesn't seem to talk as much, but the way he emotes and everything that's happening, it's always a beauty to see this actor when he's at his top of his game and he has a good script and a good production around him. Amazing. Harrison Ford, he plays a character that was from the original Blade Runner, and I think this is something I'm going to bring up right now. A lot of people may have never seen the original film. It's a classic sci-fi noir as well. Do you need to see it? I don't think so. If you do see it, you will get a little bit more out of it because you'll kind of already know the background of the world. And in addition, there are a few scenes in the film that are pretty much direct callbacks, fan service, if you will, to the original film. and that's fair. I understand why you would do that. Being the second one, I'll get to it into a little bit later about something that might be a slight con. It brings it down so minusculely. It really is just a nitpick more than anything else, but it is something that I will bring up in the more negative section. But back to the positives. Director Denis Villeneuve. I probably butchered that, but he's made so many great movies in the past 5-6 years. If you haven't seen Arrival, very great. Sicario, Prisoners. I could keep going down a long list. Bottom line is, this is a guy that you should have already been paying attention to, and if not, now's to get on that train. He does what was an impossible task, taking a very thinking man's science fiction classic from the 80s and 30 plus years later taking it and translating it into this. It's just I've seen it on ads everywhere. It really, I do feel it is a masterpiece. It is every piece of the film is just expertly crafted. There's nothing that you can say, oh, that was really bad quality filmmaking. There's just, it isn't there. Along with it, he brings his cinematographer partner. He's Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins as another man who a filmmaker that you should know very well. This is a cinematographer that just, everything he makes is so beautiful. The last one for me that I always go back to is Skyfall. I just love how that film is shot and all the lighting, and this one takes that up 100 notches. Just the color, the shot composition, the lighting, just every little piece of it is so well thought out that without you strip away the sound, strip away everything else, you can still feel a really powerful story in there. And that, I mean, if he doesn't get the nominations for the Academy for cinematographer, that's beyond insane. This year he should definitely win this. And then following from that, the score, another sense that's important to movies that this film just knocks out of the park. Hans Zimmer and Benjamin Wallfisch, I believe that's his name. I believe he's a protege of Hans Zimmer. They create a score that, for anyone who's a big fan of film scores, you're going to listen to this for the next year or so. My best comparison to this, for me personally, is the last score that really moved me in that way, that felt like you could really see the story without even having to see it, was Mad Max Fury Road. That was another film that does just an excellent job. So that's another comparison for anyone who's paying attention, that watches a lot of movies. Again, I have nothing bad to say about it. It's a really boom-tastic, just heavy score that's just really in your face and keeps you paying attention. Like I said, it sets the mood in so many different levels. I really want to keep this review short, but it's so hard because there's so many good things to talk about. Costume design, set design, it just looks like such a living, breathing world. Very unique. I mean, the original is heavily influenced by the 80s, and this one kind of carries that in with, modern subtleties, but the idea is still being, it's rooted from all that. And it's just great to look at. The world they built around it, the different ideas, the different technologies. There's a lot of things that I feel like are coming close to what could be the reality in the future. I don't want to say anything about any of the characters, so maybe I'll do a spoiler review of this later, but needless to say, the world, the characters built around it, the production design, again, grade A, perfect, excellent work. I've been saying how much this movie's amazing, and it is. But I will throw in my little nitpicky side, and I won't really spoil anything, but needless to say, there is a few scenes, like I said, that are kind of more fan service based, that are more direct links and callbacks to the original film. These are scenes that are involving Harrison Ford more than anything else. And, Harrison Ford, I didn't talk about him much. He does an excellent job returning as this character. He seems to be doing a great job just coming back to his classic, iconic characters these days. And he does it again. He does a very excellent job. But back to these scenes, Blade Runner has always had a rich history, so I understand including these scenes as part of this film. At the same time, I feel like they don't really add to what I consider to be the true overarching story. There are things happening around it, but they aren't necessarily in my mind, the gut punch, emotional draw, the focus of the film. And I feel like it'd be kind of interesting to see those scenes taken out and any small details they wanted to maybe insert them in a different way, and that would have been really interesting to me. But at the end of the day, they're still great scenes. They're interesting to watch, and they don't negatively impact the movie. I just think it would even make the overall arcing story even more compact, which they could have done because it's a really long movie. But they didn't have to. It still works out well. And like I said, it's more just a nitpick of, well, if I was in the editing room, I might have done this. But, not getting paid to edit movies, so just an opinion. It doesn't negatively impact my feeling of the movie. I think it's amazing. I'm planning on seeing this thing quite a few times, which is very difficult for me to do for movies that are usually over around 3 hours with trailers and such. Because, it's a big time sink, but this is one of those movies that is completely worth it in every way. Alright, I gotta put a stop to this. If I keep going, I could spend hours talking about this. But needless to say, Blade Runner 2049 is so far the best movie I've seen this year. It's definitely one that deserves award contention at the end of the year. It's a movie that everyone should at least give a shot, even if you're not a fan of that type of story, science fiction and such. The filmmaking in general of this, it's something you just have to see, and in theaters is probably the best way to do it, because just the gorgeous picture in such a large screen, and the score with how powerful it is with those large speakers in a theater, it needs to be seen there. So if you're semi-curious, even slightly, see it. Maybe you won't like it for for everything, but it's an entertaining film regardless, and you're gonna see something that's not something you see every day. And I always think that those types of films should be supported, just because it's not enough in the Hollywood machine that we get to see a movie with a huge budget like this that feels like it's a unique artistic tale. So yes, I would recommend pretty much anyone seeing this film. I mean, it's rated R, so obviously younger children might not be the best ones to go see it, but everyone else, definitely worth a shot. If in a rating scale from out of 10, I would give this a 9.5 out of 10. I would I could say 10 out of 10. But like I said, for me personally, there's a couple things that I think would have been interesting taken out that would have made that a perfect movie. There's those few things that I could make this argument as to why I wouldn't necessarily need them in it. But really, yeah, 9.5 out of 10. Amazing piece of work. Yes, go see it. So yeah, if you've already seen it, what do you think? Let me know. If you like this video, if you like this review, give it a thumbs up, give it a share, subscribe. I'm doing these reviews every week, hopefully getting a little better every time. And yeah, this was an excellent weekend at the movies. Go out and see it. Go out and see Blade Runner 2049. Go out and see any movie, to be honest. It's just good to keep this industry supported. And yeah, so you could also follow me at the different media handles that I will list at the bottom of the channel. On Twitter, I believe it is at Eric M. Reitz. And yeah, that's all I got. All right. I will see you guys for another film review next week. See you later.